Awesome. Okay, now we're back. So, as I said before, we're going to be talking about how to extend the 0% terms for multiple years. That way, we never have to pay any interest on this. So, here's the agenda. You already know I always love talking about why is this important. We don't know what's in it for you guys. You guys don't care. So, let's talk about why this is important, how it can be beneficial to you guys. And then once we know how that works, we'll talk about, what are the actual action items to implement this strategy. So, why is this important for us? So, there's two big things that I want to point out is number one, you know, or actually let's backtrack first. So, most people, when they think of 0% business credit cards, they're like, okay, it's 0% interest for 12 months, but then I got to pay it back before it starts hitting that 25% interest rate, which is normally true if you don't have all the credit funding hacks in your tools and arsenals of things that you could use. So this is really important because, let's say you're doing a fix and flip project and, you expect it to be a 6 month project, but that ends up taking 12 months or 13 months or 14 months. Now you're going to start collecting interest. So it pays to know how to extend this because you're going to save yourself thousands of dollars in interest payments. So that goes into our first point. Why this is important is we're going to avoid paying any interest rates at all. Again, typically they're 12 months, but in that scenario, if we invest in a flip, we expected it to only take 6 months, but it ends up taking, let's say, 18 months to be able to pay it back, then you're going to be paying, 12% worth of interest on that over the next 6 months. And the credit card interest rates are going to go from zero up to 15 to 30%, depending on the lender, once that 0% period is over. So obviously, we don't want to pay that. But if we could extend the 0% terms for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then you'll surely be able to make your ROI within that time to pay back the cards. So super helpful. The other thing too, this kind of goes back to that last point, is it limits your risk. So if you have time and 0% business credit, then that's your best friend, right? The more time you have at no interest, the longer you have to make your ROI. And if you have the 0% funding for multiple years, this limits your risk for defaulting and gives you more opportunity to pay it back. So, like, let's even say with the fix and flip example, like you don't get that ROI within a year. Let's say you have the 0% for 5 years, whether you make that ROI from the fix and flip or some other side hustle or your job, that's a lot more likely than, after the year, you just go into shit and immediately defaulting or having to pay tens and thousands of dollars in interest rates. So they'll help limit your risks and give yourself more time and breathing room to figure out how you can pay it off if, let's say, worst case scenario, your original investment doesn't pan out at all. So now let's talk about how to actually extend the 0% terms. So I got a couple strategies for you guys, and we'll just jump right into it. So number one is refinancing onto a 0% balance transfer card. So a couple notes before we go into this strategy is we always want to make sure we're refinancing onto a business credit card. Um, it's best to use a card from a different bank to do the 0% balance transfer first. So, for example, if your Chase card has 50K you need to extend, transfer that debt over to, let's say, an Amex card, not another Chase card. But the reason why we also want it to be on a business credit card is because if you use a 0% balance transfer for a personal credit card, it's highly likely you're going to max out your utilization. And once that's maxed out, you won't be able to apply for more funding on the business side. So that's why I always preach to people focus, focus, focus on the business when using that for business expenses, because personal gets maxed out too easily. Like you screw up there, it's maxed out. We're not going to be able to apply for any funding moving forward. So a big deal right there. Something to know too. This is really this comes with any credit card purchases. Something a lot of people don't know, but anytime you use a credit card, the banks charge a 3% fee. Usually you don't know this because the vendor, whoever's selling you the product or service, is the one paying that 3%. But in this case, if you're doing a balance transfer, the banks will charge a 3% fee. Again, this happens anytime you pay for a product or service. Um, but the 3% fee is a hell of a lot better than paying, 25 or 30%. So if you want to find out all the banks with 0% balance transfer cards, check out the guide I did on bank branch locators. I think it was about a couple weeks ago. But also, if you just want a list of the top banks that offer 0% balance transfer cards, comment the word list and I'll send it directly to you guys. I'll email it over to you. But that's the first strategy: refinance it onto a 0% balance transfer card. Now, something else too is some credit cards are 0% for purchases only. Some are only 0% for balance transfers only. And a lot of them are 0% for both. But let's just say you only have access to 0% purchase credit cards. That means we can't do the balance transfer. The next best thing we could do is liquidate the 0% purchase card and use that to pay back the original debt. So with this, when I'm saying liquidate, just to be very clear too, liquidate is basically the process of us pulling the cash from the cards without paying that cash advance fee, right? Because if you're doing like a cash advance, the banks are going to charge you like 20 to 30%, which which defeats the whole purpose of the 0%. But if we could pull the cash out of the cards without paying that fee, then that's freaking awesome. So first thing we're going to do here is, if the credit card's only for purchases, then step one is obviously go get approved for that card, then go through the liquidation process. So again, liquidation process is pulling the cash from the cards without paying the cash advance fee. And I'll actually go through those liquidation methods in another video. It's a little bit lengthy. But if you guys want me to send you that training, comment the word liquid if you want to learn how, and I'll send it to your email directly. But essentially, since we have the cash from the credit card, that's straight up cash in your bank. Now you can pay off the card that does have the debt, that doesn't have the 0%. And once we do that, boom, you just bought yourself another year of no interest. And you can see this starting to stack, right? There's so many different banks with 0% cards, whether it's the balance transfers or the purchase 0%, or when they have both. You could easily extend your 0% term for 2, 3, 4, 5 years plus, So this is really cool. This will ideally, again, we want to be investing in things that are going to ROI before the 12 months. But again, this just gives you a little safety net. And kind of basically a little backup plan if anything becomes a hiccup. Business isn't always straight shot. You can't always predict the future. And this gives you that safety net and breathing room if something does happen, that this isn't going to financially crush you, and you have the time and options and opportunity to be able to figure out your next game plan. But the other thing too is you could also negotiate with banks, right? Sometimes banks will offer special terms to allow you to extend the 0% terms. This isn't super common, but it does happen. You could also just ask the banks if they have any offers to extend the 0% terms, or if they have any programs that would allow you to pay it off at the non-full 15 to 30% interest rate. Again, not every bank offers that, but if you don't ask, then the answer is always going to be no. So it's worth at least asking and, being able to negotiate and be able to ask the right questions. So that's the 3 ways of being able to extend the 0% terms. And again, for you guys, this is going to be able to help limit our risk and avoid us paying interest on any of the 0% cards that we get if it does go past the 0% terms. So that's basically it, guys. Appreciate you guys lending your eyes and ears for this. Again, a couple calls to action, right? Comment the word list if you guys want the full list of 0% balance transfer and 0% purchase cards, and we'll email it to you guys directly. Comment the word liquid if you guys want access to learn how to actually pull the cash from the cards without paying that cash advance fee. And lastly, too, you guys know what the business is. I'm a funding credit expert. I do have some paid services. I'm always down to help people out, and that's why we do these free live trainings is to help get you guys more knowledgeable of the funding game, so you guys can get a step closer. But if you guys are ready to get 150K in the next 30 days, then schedule 15 minutes with us. Just type the word funding, we'll reach out below, and schedule some time if you guys are ready. But that's basically it. Hope this was helpful for you guys. And if for anybody out there, if you guys already have some debt that's accruing interest and want some help on, creating a game plan on how to pay that back as soon as possible with the least fees as possible, then, still comment the word funding or just DM me, and I'm more than happy to connect with you guys and see how we can help out. But appreciate you guys again. As usual, peace out, much love, stay beautiful, and we will see you guys in the next one. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe, enjoy your friends and family, and I will see you guys next week. Actually, next week, I have a really big announcement for you guys that you guys will not want to miss. And I got a huge deal, huge announcement, huge deal that I'm going to be going over all next week starting on Monday. So be on the lookout for that. And once again, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.